someone
around this time and from my boy in so to Tonomutimi, Echamo, the Equine Faso.
Omuba, Yana, Omu, Nipa, or Soroha, Mokasa Chireumu, said the high environment city, said the Baya womb pirana de Kekaho. But Omubana, Yakochiramo number 1, 2, 3, no Masayako. Because Nipan Bibaba, Nebi Conti, Omba, Achiramo, the Amubaya, Baya, Obin Copira. Into a much we are no my day, or Masayako, Nani Pafo Frabani, Yaduomoko, Tosa, until Yadi as a set or Moba Betanaha, or Moba, no major Hoko.
All right, so that was just an account by one of the witnesses. Even standing here, you can still feel that kind of heavy wind. But what surprises most is the fact that couldn't this have been prevented? Because even if you should look at the cliff, I mean, it's very obvious that most of the trees that are sitting on the cliff are quite weak. So apart from this particular incident, in the near future, there's a possibility that any of these trees that we see on the cliff, looking at its weak nature, can also fall from the cliff to this particular place. Well, it makes the whole thing quite interesting and pathetic, looking at the fact that nobody saw it coming. My name is William Evans Inkum.
Let's still get more on this particular issue, and we have Riafe Akenton, and he is from the Adas FM, a local reporter with Adas FM at Kintampo, and he is on the line to speak to us about the current happenings there. Hello, good afternoon, Adas. Riafe, and thanks for joining us.
Hello, good afternoon, my sister.
Well, so what can you tell us about the situation there now?
We just heard the news that the Ghana Tourism Authority, in collaboration with the NADMO, have given indefinite closure to the Kintampo Mighty waterfalls. We have not gotten access to the official statement, so I had to rush to the place. And when I came, like the story is true, the security personnel at post says the information has just come from the municipal, the divisional police commander, who has ordered them not to allow anybody entry to the place. So as I speak to you, the place is locked up. Even though there haven't been any written information placed on the place, but I can see that the place is locked up. So apart from the security guys here who are at the entrance, there's no other individual available.
Well, Riafe, can you confirm to us that there's one more life that has been lost? Hello, Riafe, can you hear me?
That one too, that is the information that we have also picked. And, you know, Vice President was here yesterday and he was getting ready to go to Wenty when those officials who were accompanying him, they put that announcement, that the information they've also gathered was that another person passed on at the Wenty hospital. Whether it's a boy or a girl, I'm not able to confirm that, but that information came in as one of the official informations when the officials who were following the Vice President gave yesterday.
Well, you are in that particular area. We want to find out from you how this closure is going to affect locals over there.
Yeah, it will be a lot because as I speak to you, I've seen a pickup vehicle loaded with a generator and other things who has just come here and is turning over to go because the people say they have closed the place indefinitely. You know, it is a possibility that people might have scheduled their time to come and visit this place before this incident occurred. So maybe if foreigners do come, they book tickets in advance to come. If they had already scheduled those things and they come to meet the place closed, definitely it will not be fine to them. But the way the place too is, I think I am 100%. I agree with them closing the place for now because the whole place is scattered with fallen trees. So they need to do a lot of maintenance work here before maybe they can open it to the public for visitation.
Well, thanks so much for talking to us. I have been speaking with Riafe Akenten, and he is a local reporter with Adas FM, also at Kintampo. Let's still stay on this particular issue because there have been calls for an audit into all the major tourist sites in the country. But we want to further look at this particular issue. When we talk about audits, safety audits that is being called for, what exactly are we talking about? We're looking into this particular issue, safety assessment, safety audit. And when we talk about safety audit, we're looking at assessment, and then we're also looking at identifying strengths and weaknesses. That is particularly what will be happening when they begin with this particular assessment. And so identifying the weaknesses and strengths of this particular issue will identify, so how is this going to improve, and then we also have to look at improvements that are needed and created to a process. And so let's get more of this particular issue, safety audits. So we'll be talking about, we have 3 types of safety audits. We have compliance and audit inspections. And when we talk about the compliance and audit inspections, what are we looking at? The most basic audits is to a compliance or conditions that the inspections will be looking at. We also have program audits, the 3 types, compliance audits. We have program audits, and that is done occasionally. So occasional programs to reduce accidents and incidents of risk and also unsafe acts. The 3rd one has to do with management systems audits, and that's evaluation and also validation as well. Let's get more on this particular issue. Well, so basically these are what we talk about. So with the safety audits, we look at assessment. We also look at safety violations and conditions. So what happened at Kintampo, for instance, what were the safety measures that were violated that caused this? We've also done other stories as well where tourist sites, there have been a lot of issues. We'll delve more into it as our reporters are on the ground. So bring us more on this particular issue. But right now, let's move on and do some other stories. And government has given clearance for the recruitment of nurses and other health professionals who were granted financial clearance in December 2016. The recruitment was suspended by government on February 16, 2016, affecting over 8,000 nurses and other health professionals across the country. A letter dated March 20, 2017, signed by the Deputy Human Resource Manager of the Ghana Health Service, Peter Obriyeboah, asked regional directors of the service to resume the process. The letter stated in parts, the Honorable Minister of Health has granted approval of the recruitment of trainees and other health professionals who were granted financial clearance in December 2016 in line with the regional ceilings. In other news, an Accra Magistrate Court has adjourned the Mawako assault case to Wednesday, March 22. This was after lawyers for the accused asked for a copy of the police statement with prosecution could not produce immediately.
In court on Monday, lawyer for the accused, Augustine Ajay, led his team to further cross-examine the victim, Evelyn Boache. The team raised concerns about the inconsistencies in the statements given by the victim at the police station and the one in court. Again, they wanted the victim to clarify whether she mentioned anyone as a principal witness, which she failed to state in her earlier statement. Upon persistent call for the prosecution to produce the statement before the court, the judge, Victoria Ganza, who presided over the case, asked lawyers of the accused not to drag proceedings. In his cross-examination, Augustine Ejay insisted Evelyn Boache's testimony is inconsistent. Human rights activist Francis Xavier Susu spoke to the news team after proceedings.
All the effort being made by the defense team to attempt to discredit her all fell flat. It was obvious that, there was a lot of effort, but it all didn't work. She's under really strict monitoring, so we will be sure that she's okay and safe and sound with herself, and to be able to give her evidence before the court, and eventually to be able to go to court for the civil claim that we also have against the Mawako fast foods.
Spokesperson for Mawako restaurant, Mohamed Amin Lamte, expresses satisfaction at some media reports.
If you follow what happened after the last court, the stories that went out, she's psychologically traumatized, she wants to commit suicide, all these stories go against the company. Because now as we deal with the issue legally, the image and the brand of the company is at stake. So the media that comes to cover these stories, they go out there forgetting that they have to report what happened here, not to go out there to go and raise the tension of Ghanaians.
The 26-year-old Abilingpe branch manager of Mawako restaurant, Jihad Chaban, accused of assaulting Evelyn Boache, a caterer at the restaurant, has been granted bail in an earlier hearing of 20,000 cedis with 2 sureties. The court has set March 22 for the next hearing.
And Down syndrome today is World Down Syndrome Day. Down syndrome occurs when an individual has a full or partial extra copy of chromosome 21. This additional genetic material alters the course of development. Let's look at small facts about Down syndrome. And Down syndrome occurs when an individual has a full or partial extra copy of chromosome, as we have already said. The estimated incidence of Down syndrome is between 1 in 1,000 to 1 in 1,100 live births worldwide. That is the current estimates that we have now on Down syndrome. And so there are a lot of issues that come about. We have stigmatization, neglect, and all that. We have in the studio a gentleman and a lady to help us talk to this particular issue about World Down Syndrome Day. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks so much for joining us. So I am joined by Mariama Obin, and she is Deputy Principal in charge of Workshop New Horizons School. And I also have William Isilfi, and he is a student of New Horizons Special School. Good afternoon, and thanks once again for joining us. Let me start with you, William. What does it mean to be a person living with Down syndrome?
It's like, because it's very good, because it's like I enjoy myself well. It's like we see some people around you, because we take our time and talk well, and then sometimes like and that people come to you and talk, and it's like
talk to you
about it.
How do people feel about it?
Well, there's this issue about stigmatization. I want to find out if you have had your share of that. You know, people see you and don't want to get close to you because you have such a condition.
Yeah.
Do people do that to you?
No.
So go on.
It's like sometimes it's not nice to put your hand with the people around. Sometimes it's not nice. sometimes it's like respect our teachers, respect our staff, and everything you are doing. Yeah.
Mariama, let me come to you. Let me come to you. We'll get back to him again. You are with the school. You know exactly the students that come in with different forms of condition. The issue about stigmatization. What does it take? You know, is it like for the student that you teach in the school?
Yes, in most cases, sometimes it depends on how the individual is treated.
Okay.
Yes, or how the individual is brought up. So then, like Down syndromes, for instance, it's a lifelong condition, and it has to take early intervention. So usually what we preach to parents and society about stigmatization is that parents should handle their children in a way that the public will accept or society will accept them. And that is exactly what we do at the New Horizon School. We try as much as possible to train them in a way that they will be accepted by society, so that even when they are stigmatized, they will not feel that impact. And then parents also are always advised not to be so ashamed or like feeling disheartened that he or she has a special child, because it takes the parent to accept, take the condition as it is, for you to be able to bring up your child so that people will accept your child. So then when you are faced with stigmatization, you don't feel that impact very much.
William, what are some of the challenges that you go through?
Sometimes I don't make challenge with some my teachers.
You don't do what?
I don't challenge my teachers.
Okay. It doesn't challenge the teachers.
Yeah.
And so
if I want to come in to help William, you know, like I said, it's a lifelong condition.
Okay.
And so early intervention is very important. And looking at William, for instance, had that opportunity, had that chance. And so the way he is brought up, the way he is trained in a way that he won't go to a place where people will even ridicule him, you see. So he doesn't face that challenge per se. But there are a lot of them who face these challenges, because some of them are even ridiculed. They are given names, you know, because of the nature, the way they are, people make fun of them.
Exactly.
Yes, people make fun of them. And society always want to capitalize on their condition to do things that are not right to them, but they also have their rights.
For example, for him, you know, sometimes we say that children or people with such conditions are very creative.
Yeah.
Williams, what creative things are you able to do? I know in the school, I know New Horizon, they teach you a lot.
Oh, yes.
What can you do?
I do baskets, turn die, kente, and turn die, because I help my teacher to like do the.
Which one do you like doing best, or are you able to do very well?
Because now I'm very good.
With what?
With which one?
With
the baskets, the kente,
turn die, and kente.
Which was the last one that you did?
The last one is turn die.
Turn die. You should have brought it to show it to us.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about education for them and looking at the inclusiveness that we have been talking about. Is it very difficult for us to achieve that?
Inclusive is very important and is good if only we are able to do it. Because like I said from the beginning, the way society looks at our children or children with special needs, it's difficult putting them together. It will be very good if we have the resources in schools that children with intellectual disability can be included. For example, you have a normal stream school where you have the resources like teachers who are in special ed, and then activities that will match their condition. Yes, if those things are in place, and then also conscientizing the children that they are going to work with, because sometimes Not all of them are so bad. You know, we have them in various degrees.
Stages,
yes,
okay.
and so some of them understand when they are loved and when they are not loved. For example, if William, for instance, knows I love him, he is always with me. If you don't, he easily sees it, he won't come to you again. And so they have to create a situation where they will be accepted. If they are accepted, and we have these resources that will help them, I think it can work. But without that, it will be very difficult to have the inclusive.
Well, finally, before we go, William, what will you be doing today as part of the celebration?
Let me see. Anything.
You'll be doing everything. Well, okay, thanks so much for joining us in the studio. And I have been speaking with Mariama Obain, and she is Deputy Principal in charge of Workshop New Horizon School, and also William Isulfi, and he is a student at the New Horizon School. Thanks so much and have a great day. This is still Midday Live. Let's do some other stories. And the New Patriotic Party is considering honoring all departed heroes of the party. The Acting General Secretary, John Buedu, made this known at the first anniversary of the death of former party chairman and Minister of State Jacob Bichebi Lamte.
According to the leadership, Jake's immense contribution facilitated victory even after his demise, hence the need to honor him. However, there are others who have equally made enormous contributions towards the success story of the party, which need to be celebrated as well.
You just don't say because it is Jake you are doing it. We do it in a manner that will resonate with all members of our party. So you can mention Hawa Yakubu, you can mention Banredu, and people like that. So we do it totality in order to bring the kind of hard work and sacrifices that our people had done for this party and to Ghana.
Thus, some executives of the party agreed.
It's long overdue. The party shouldn't have even waited until we get to power. I remember Jake has played a very instrumental role in the internal activity of the party. People have really contributed, and every single individual who has contributed his quota towards the strength and the unity of the party must be remembered.
Wife of the late former chairman reminisced fond memories of him, adding she would embrace any decision the party would take to honor him.
He's a very loving person, but very private as well when it comes to the house. He likes to be on his own, read his book, watch television, especially sports, and be by himself. But when it comes to work or to help others, he goes all out to do his best.
A memorial service was held earlier at the Ridge Church. Jake Otanka Obichebi Lamte passed away on Sunday, March 20 last year in London after battling a short illness.
The disqualified candidate aspiring for Vice President of the Ghana Journalists Association, Matthew Makwame, says he will use every available means, including seeking legal remedy to reverse his disqualification. He spoke exclusively to TV3 when he called on journalists to garner support for his ambition.
In the run-up to the Ghana Journalists Association elections on March 31, 2 candidates have been disqualified by the election committee. These include a candidate for the presidential race, formerly with the Daily Graphic, Lloyd Evans, and a vice president contender, Matthew Makwame. Matthew Makwame alleged the election committee disqualified him using Article 47B of the GJA Constitution, which states that all members aspiring for executive positions at the national and regional levels must be members in good standing at least 90 days before the elections. He questioned why his name was recently published as a member in good standing.
Election calendar came out February 6th. And I went and paid my dues 22nd February. And on the 1st of March, the Ghana Journalists Association published list of members who are in good standing. Makwame's name was among the list.
He said he would use every available means, including going to court, if he is denied the chance of standing.
I will avail myself with every means. Now I want to use the internal mechanism. If the internal mechanism fails, then whatever available to me, I will apply it.
The election is slated for March 31, 2017.
Illegal mining, popularly referred to as galamsey, has destroyed farmlands and water bodies. Today on What Do You Think? We explore the views of Ghanaians on the menace.
Activities of galamsey continue to pose very serious threats to water bodies and forest reserves across the country, yet efforts at dealing with it seem not to be getting anywhere. The new Minister for Lands and Natural Resources has also indicated his will to deal with galamsey once and for all. What do you think?
We all know what the problem is until we have the political will to solve it. Because we are all aware that the operators or those who are involved in galamsey, sometimes they are arrested and the politicians go to their aid. Even some of the politicians themselves are involved. The political will to tackle the problem must be there. Then our local chiefs, because they own the lands, if they don't give out the lands, I can go there and do any galamsey. So the chiefs must also be prepared to tackle the problem.
Ye hun se galamsey no yate hun se bibre an kwasemini emboaye ya ye wonkurase no amaye bre senye bohu na umotutu wonkurase no kura no kwasemini insuo nom ho eden de beye aduane eden nti se bibi pabi ho ibetumi ayafa ho dia yenye ntentem animanimu ya enye sa ebedu baabi no sisi wumu a enwumanimfo ne ade a wumu hwe no mu kyese nam kura e wonsu mu no kura no sisi wumu nyina wu yinya koto yinya adwene bia sei wumu mudi musika ndi wumu di but ye na ye wo kura so so ye bre.
We have business coming up. Please stay with us.
It's Talented Kids Season 8. We bring you performances from 23 of our best and brightest kids from across the country. Our contestants have to do more than go on stage and display their skills. They have to capture the crowd, woo the judges, and most of all, win the heart of the nation. Remember, there's a 10,000 Ghana Cedi cash prize and a 6,000 Ghana Cedi educational fund up for grabs for our eager competitors. Make a date with us this and every Sunday at 4 p.m. on TV3 and watch as our contestants show how worthy they are of the top prize. Talented Kids, free to play.
Talented Kids is brought to you by Heaven Insecticide Spray and Mosquito Coil, Enapa Mackerel, Indomie, Cowbell, Our Milk, Mada Powdered Soap, Pepsodent, Blue Band Margarine, First Bank Financial Services, Royal Drinks, Jack and Jill Hussein, Diamond Baby Diapers, and Sandra Ice Cream.
Watch New Day every weekday at 6 a.m. New Day is brought to you by Givers Capsules.
Hi, my name is John Ewua. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Universal Merchant Bank, UMB, your most innovative and customer-friendly bank in the country. Join me on 27th March as I get hosted by Pa Kwesi Asare on Time with the Captains on TV3. It will be a delight and a privilege for me to share some insights of our business people and in particular our young entrepreneurs.
TV3, first in news, best in entertainment.
It's our very first business story, and President Akufo-Addo has reiterated government's determination to build a country that will not depend on charity and handouts. Addressing the Ghanaian community in Geneva, Switzerland, the president promised a proper management of resources to improve the economy of the country.
President Akufo-Addo, who was attending the 5th Africa CEO Forum in Geneva, made time to meet the Ghanaian community. He assured them his administration will build an independent, strong economy to improve living conditions.
The mass of our people, 60 years after independence, has not materially changed. And I'm saying that we now have run out of excuses in justifying that set of circumstances because we have it within us to create a new paradigm. What is that paradigm? That we can build a Ghana beyond aid. We can build a Ghana which is no longer dependent on handouts and charity.
He assured the private sector of government support to boost businesses.
Despite the challenges about the absence of fiscal space, $100 million relief stimulus package for Ghanaian local industry within the confines of the budget. All of this part of the desire we have to grow the economy as rapidly as possible.
The president said government will keep to the manifesto promise of improving agriculture. The president is expected back home on Thursday, March 23.
The Ghana cedi neared a 4% depreciation to the US dollar on Tuesday as demand by exporters continued to rise. The local currency declined in value by 0.4 to the American currency last week. West Africa's worst performing currency, the Ghana cedi, has been projected to depreciate by about 5% this year. This means it will trade a 5 cedi to a dollar by the end of December. Analysts expects the central bank to reinforce the exchange rate policy and liquidity management efforts to the local currency. The question still remains, how do we stabilize the Ghanaian cedi? And I have in the studio Joe Jackson, and he is the Chief Operating Officer, Dalex Finance. Thanks so much for joining us here in the studio.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your viewers.
Well, so the question still remains, how do we stabilize the Ghanaian cedi?
The question should really be, should we stabilize the Ghanaian cedi at all?
Should we stabilize the Ghanaian cedi at all?
Yes, but not at this level.
Why?
At a much lower level. Because the cedi is overvalued. The cedi is overvalued. And what happened at the end of last year was that there was there were efforts to prop up the cedi. Now those efforts can't last forever, right? And they were not real. So as soon as we came into this year, as soon as there was a little bit of optimism about business and where we're going, and as soon as the propping mechanism stopped, boom.
So what is really causing the sharp decline of the Ghanaian cedi?
Well, a number of things, but the most, in our opinion, the most important effect is actually a very interesting effect.
Okay.
And I'll take my time to explain this. On one hand, treasury bills have dropped, the rate on treasury bills have dropped to as low as 16%. Yet, the Bank of Ghana, in its own rate at which it buys money from or sells money to the banks, is as high as 24%. So we have this weird mismatch where, on one hand, money sold to the government, issued by the central bank, is at 16%, and even dropped lower, just come up a little bit. And yet, this same central bank says that the true value of money is at 24%. So now what's happening is that treasury bills, when they mature, people are not buying new treasury bills. They're taking out their money and putting it in the US dollar, because a significant percentage of the people who buy treasury bills are actually foreigners or foreign entities who, if they're not buying treasury bills, are taking their money out. So part of the drop is because there's this weird, it almost seems as if there's a Dr. Jekyll and Hyde mismatch between what is the true cost of money in this country. So is it at the 16% the treasury bill, or the 24% which the bank reserve rate is?
We still want to find, so how then again do we stabilize the city against the US dollar?
You see, at the bottom level, it is the city represents, the value of the city represents how much people want to buy things from outside where they need dollars versus how much people want things from this country. Now, the price of the cedi has to drop low enough where when you need to buy something imported, you think twice about it, so that the demand for dollars will drop. Otherwise, if we still continue to prop it up, every time you let go, it will sink. And it is this up and down business that is bad for business. Let the cedi drop to its natural level and stay there.
Would you consider, or would you say that government should borrow, to shore up the city?
Definitely not. We have no business borrowing. Not when we've borrowed so much that our debts are at 74% of our GDP. We have no business borrowing. We shouldn't borrow to, you see, and every time we shore up the cedi, we continue to reinforce the decisions that create problems for us. Let's take a very simple decision. I go to the store. I want to buy a drink. I have Sobolo in front of me and I have juice in front of me. Okay. Sobolo is local, right? So the price is a local price. The serious juice from South Africa or whatever is foreign. The price of the cedi has to fall. So now, Sobolo, because of its cheaper price, looks more attractive than a packet of juice. It's as simple as that.
That's so practical. Thanks so much for your thoughts. That's so practical. I have been speaking with Joe Jackson and his Chief Operating Officer at Dalex Finance, speaking to us on how we can stabilize the city. This is still Midday Live. We have more coming up. Stay with us.
It's Talented Kids Season 8. We bring you performances from 23 of our best and brightest kids from across the country. Our contestants have to do more than go on stage and display their skills. They have to capture the crowd, woo the judges, and most of all, win the heart of the nation. Remember, there's a 10,000 Ghana Cedi cash prize and a 6,000 Ghana Cedi educational fund up for grabs for our eager competitors. Make a date with us this and every Sunday at 4 p.m. on TV3 and watch as our contestants show how worthy they are of the top prize. Talented Kids, free to play.
Talented Kids is brought to you by Heaven Insecticide Spray and Mosquito Coil, Enapa Mackerel, Indomie, Cowbell, Our Milk, Mada Powdered Soap, Pepsodent, Blue Band Margarine, First Bank Financial Services, Royal Drinks, Jack and Jill Hussein, Diamond Baby Diapers, and Sandra Ice Cream.
TV3, first in news, best in entertainment.
Everything you need to know. Captivating. Reliable.
President Mahama, who addressed a Deborah of chiefs and people of
credible and breaking news. All at your fingertips.
Who's found Asamoah Gyan? Super finish!
Being on top of the news has never been easy. Visit us at www.3news.com for all your reliable news. 3 News, news at your fingertips.
It's Talented Kids Season 8. We bring you performances from 23 of our best and brightest kids from across the country. Our contestants have to do more than go on stage and display their skills. They have to capture the crowd, woo the judges, and most of all, win the heart of the nation. Remember, there's a 10,000 Ghana Cedi cash prize and a 6,000 Ghana Cedi educational fund up for grabs for our eager competitors. Make a date with us this and every Sunday at 4 p.m. on TV3 and watch as our contestants show how worthy they are of the top prize. Talented Kids, free to play.
Talented Kids is brought to you by Heaven Insecticide Spray and Mosquito Coil, and Napa Mackerel, Indomie, Cowbell, Our Milk, Mada Powdered Soap, Pepsodent, Blue Band Margarine, First Bank Financial Services, Royal Drinks, Jack and Jill Hussein, Diamond Baby Diapers, and Sandra Ice Cream.
All right, so it's time to bring you all the latest in the world of sports. So with me, Thierry Nyan, here on Media Live. Now let's start off with some CAF Confederations Cup news, and there have been some draw for the round of 16 that took place earlier this morning. So on your screens now, you are going to be seeing all of that, and TP Mazembe have been drawn with old rivals, in some of what makes it a very, very interesting pairing. And that is actually one of the headlines for the intriguing draw. And then, the pick of the pack is the battle between former continental champions, from DR Congo and their, Algerian counterparts, JS Calibi. And then, there are some other very, very interesting pairings over there as well. One of them happens to be FUS Rabat against MAS Fairs, and then Tanzanian campaigners, young Africans who are also from Algeria. All right, now let's go straight to England, where Manchester United's Bastian Schweinsteiger, he is the outcast over there, and of course the misfit as well, and he is to join MLS side Chicago Fire. It was announced this morning the 32-year-old moves to Chicago as only the second reigning world champion to move to the MLS. The German could join Veljko Paunovic's team by the next week, depending on the P1 visa application and a physical, the Chicago Tribune reported. Schweinsteiger, who last played for United in March, rejected offers to leave Old Trafford in the summer because he wanted to assess the offers from the MLS. Now, Vice President of Ghana, Dr. Mamudu Bawumia, has received the Gold Coast 2018 Commonwealth Games baton relay on behalf of the people of the country. He is confident Ghana will perform better at the international multi-sport event to be held from April 4 to 15 in Queensland, Australia, than in previous games.
Ghana is the second country to receive the Gold Coast 2018 baton after Sierra Leone. The baton is expected to go through all 52 Commonwealth member countries and some 70 nations and territories. president of the Ghana Olympic Committee, Ben Nunu Mensah, is optimistic Ghana will win more laurels in the upcoming games. Dr. Louise Martin is the president of the Commonwealth Games Federation.
Our aim is, when we're here, to make sure you people of your country touch this, feel it and see it, because Her Majesty put her message in it for everybody to see. That's the last thing she said to me when I met her last week, was please tell everybody that Africa is, she's so passionate about Africa, and she's pleased that the baton is into the country, into Africa, and Ghana is the second country to be able to receive this baton.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, urged Team Ghana to prove its merit in the upcoming event.
Ghana has been a member of the Commonwealth since 1957, basically when we got independence. So we've been in the Commonwealth for 60 years. And Ghana has participated in every Commonwealth game since then, pretty much except the 1986 Edinburgh Games. We've participated pretty much in every Commonwealth Games, and we've done reasonably well. We thank Her Majesty the Queen for her goodwill message and her passion for Africa. We hope our athletes come back with a lot of gold.
The 2018 International Multi-Sport event will be held from April 4 to 15 on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia.
Now, President of the Sports Writers Association of Ghana says the lifetime ban imposed by FIFA on referee Joseph Lamte is indicative of a general rot in Ghana refereeing. Kwabena Yabuah told TV3 Sports the ban highlights the deep rot in refereeing in Ghana.
It will not be surprising to followers of Africa football because if you follow the activities of referee Lamte, it's not particularly been the best. Don't forget that a few years ago he was banned for 2 years for officiating in a game involving Esperance and Ali, in which he gave a very, very dubious, disallowed a dubious goal. And so he was banned. This is not the first time. And a number of football fans watched that particular game involving South Africa, the Bafana, and Senegal. And he awarded a penalty, which was ridiculous. And I remember very well Mark Gleason, who was running commentary on that day, who is a South African, expressed total shock, utter dismay, and was dumbfounded. If we want to inject total integrity and sanity in our football, this is the way it should be.
With this information, how bad is it for our Ghanaian referees?
If you consider the fact that during the last Africa Cup of Nations, not a single Ghanaian was involved, it is so embarrassing, you know, and so humiliating. And this is not the first time. For a number of years, you don't find Ghanaian referees involved in top competitions on the African continent. And instead of getting worried, I'm sure they come out with all manner of funny excuses. The truth of the matter is that our referees are not doing well. And if our game stinks, the Ghanaian game stinks and is so rotten, it's partly because of the naked bias of some of our referees and the complete ineptitude and inefficiency of our referees.
All right, so that's all for sports with me, Thierry Nyan, here on Media Live. Keep watching TV3.
Watch New Day every weekday at 6 a.m. New Day is brought to you by Givers Capsules.
Hi, my name is John Ewua. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Universal Merchant Bank, UMB, the most innovative and customer-friendly bank in the country. Join me on 27th March as I get hosted by Pa Kwesi Asare on Time with the Captains on TV3. It will be a delight and a privilege for me to share some insights of our business people and in particular our young entrepreneurs.
TV3. First in news, best in entertainment.
Let's do international news now.
At least 26 people have died of starvation in Somalia's southern region of Jubaland. The government-owned Radio Mogadishu website quotes Regional Interior Minister and Drought Committee Chairman as saying the deaths occurred in the last 36 hours. He has appealed for emergency aid to curb hunger. The U.S. has announced a ban on large electronic devices from cabin baggage on passenger flights from 8 Muslim-majority countries. The devices include laptops, tablets, cameras, DVD players, and electronic games consoles. It said bombs could be hidden in these devices. Phones are exempt from the new rules.
So entertainment news now, and the absence of well-equipped theatres across the country has been cited for contributing to the stagnation of theatre arts business in the country. Ahead of the theatre arts, the head of the Theatre Arts Department of the University of Ghana, Dr. Ajman Osei, argues that situation truncated the longevity of most contents and it's denied most creators the opportunity to reach a national audience with their content.
A well-equipped theatre to performing artists is just like a football pitch to the passionate footballer. Without it, training and perfection will certainly be difficult to achieve. Performing artists have had to rely on the relatively well-furnished National Theatre for mass productions. Reaching across regional audience with their content has been the dilemma of performing artists, as the facilities do not exist.
I think we're crippling the industry. Somebody like Ebo White has been trying to tour around the country and has been appropriating church auditoriums and things like that as spaces for his performances and things like that. Those are not appropriate places for performances, and it can affect the quality or the concepts and also the dignity and even the acoustics and things like that.
President Akufo-Addo on March 17 reiterated his government's commitment to building multi-purpose theatres in Tamale, Kumasi and Takoradi. Head of the Theatre Arts Department of the University of Ghana, Dr. Ajman Osei, thinks though long overdue, such a project is crucial in developing the arts.
If the performance can run for a month, whatever was invested in it can be realized, especially if it is a hit. That is why I think that the idea of even building theatres in the class of the National Theatre at the region is a good idea. It gives the productions longer life. I think our designers should also be looking beyond this plywood sets and things like that. And going to lighting design, we can use computer-aided design and projecting sceneries on stage. I think it's about time that we looked into things like that.
Deputy Senior Production Assistant at the School of Performing Arts, John Edmondson Sam, is of the view the promise, when fulfilled, will have a positive bearing on the promotion of culture and other national values.
If this is something that the government want to really embark upon, then hallelujah, because the School of Performing Arts, apart from its training, young budding, actors, musicians and all that, we also carry along our customs and traditions that have been put in place, So why should it be so difficult for theatre to, bring up all these issues.
And that will be all for now. Thanks so much for watching. My name is AC Benewanyami. Have a good day.